All right, everyone, welcome to another Spice Algo video. Today we are going to be going over how we can use supply and demand zones with the Spice algorithm to make our trading even more effective. If you're new here and don't know what Spice Algo is, it is a proprietary software trading algorithm that prints buy and sell signals for you on your chart. Um, Including the buy and sell signals, we also include a trend ribbon, so we can see that through the middle here, and then these outer clouds, right? And so the purpose of the trend ribbon is if we, like, say, go up a higher time frame, right? We can see that obviously today we were in a strong downtrend pretty much the entire day. And so when we go back to our 3-minute chart that we can like day trade a little more effectively on, all the sell signals are pretty much printing because we are in that strong downtrend on the larger time frame, right? So kind of want to maybe avoid the buy signals unless we have specific reason we're looking to enter, and go with the trend, right? And so that's going to be how we use our trend ribbon. And then we also have these outer clouds. I kind of use them as a take profit or stop loss area. So for example, we can see these tails breaching down into the cloud down here. So if we took this sell signal, maybe we consider taking profit down here. And then we can see that same action again right here. So those could be two potential trimming out areas. And then when we see this buy signal come in, maybe that's where we take all our profits. So that's just an example of how we can use the SPICE algorithm. But getting into the supply and demand zones, right? The reason I wanted to go over supply and demand with the algorithm is because including our algorithm, we also have a Spice Trade Discord group, which is jam-packed full of scanners, right? We have AI momentum scanners. We have golden flow option scanners that tell you anytime over $1 million is spent on any specific option. We have a bunch of educational information, and then we have our analysts that are always there to help our members and are calling out awesome plays. But they use a lot of supply and demand zones in their trading. And so a lot of our members want to be able to follow along. And so that is the purpose of this video. Um, so getting into it, right? What is supply and demand? Supply and demand are essentially zones on a chart where we think institutional traders, so big banks, hedge funds, have limit orders sitting in that area, right? And so the reason it's so effective is because, say, we have a nice uptrend or like this downtrend forming in the chart, right? This is just sake of example, right? I have no idea. We're going to chart it out here in a few minutes, but say we're in the strong downtrend, right? And we have this like nice little base area where support is, right? And so say, for example, all the retail traders are thinking go short, go short, go short, right? We're breaking lower lows, we're breaking support. But say we have a demand zone here, basically all the retail traders are going to be just filling the orders of the institutional traders that are going to be buying in this area. And obviously, this is not the best example, but that is the basis of supply and demand, right? So we want to be trading with the institutions, and another reason it's so effective is because of the risk to reward ratio that it creates. Because you can basically just always put your stop at the bottom of the zone or the top of the zone if you're going short, and allow it to run from A, going short all the way to demand, or B, if you're going long, run all the way to supply. So it creates a super strong risk to reward ratio, which is super important for trading. And so now we can kind of just get into how we can go about creating these supply and demand zones, right? So this is the ES chart, by the way, the SPY futures. I don't chart the actual SPY chart, I chart the futures, just because there's a lot more consistent data, right? It's only closed an hour a day, and the pre-market data it's not as skewed as it can be on the actual SPY chart. So first things first, when we're creating our supply and demand, there's a couple candle structures we're going to be looking for. First, we're going to be just looking for Basin candles, and I'll show you what that means. But first thing we need to do is take off our Heiken Ashi candles to regular candles, right? And then we're also going to remove all our indicators, so we're just looking at the candles. All right, and so an example of a Basin candle. Let's find a good one, right? Just so we can kind of get our heads in the right space. All right, so this is like a perfect example of a basin candle, right? So um, this red candle right here that we see right here, this is a perfect example of a basin candle because we have this nice rally. We have this basing period where we kind of stall out for a second and then we get another rally out of it. So that's going to be an example of a rally base rally, and this would be an example of demand zone. Now, obviously, we're on the 3 minute right now, so that's not really one we're going to pay attention to. But this is the candle structure we're looking for, and so I'm going to go through how I chart out ES, and I'm going to show you exactly how we could have used it today to make an awesome 400% gainer. So I always go down the time frames from like daily, 4 hour, 3 hour, 2 hour, 1 hour, 90 minute, 45 minute, and then 30 minute, and then sometimes 15 minute if it's really close to the current price. But mostly I stop between the 30 and the 15 minute. So first things first, we're going to go to the daily, right? And I will kind of explain what we're looking for. Where's the price? Okay, here we are. So first things first, right? So I notice one basing candle right here, right? So we can see, obviously, we have this huge rally, this basing candle in between, and then another rally that pushes through the top of the basing candle, right? And so we can definitely draw a demand zone in here. So how we're going to do this is we're going to throw a horizontal line right here, okay? And so this is going to be demand zone. So we're going to make it green. And then we're going to type in daily demand. Perfect. And so if you want, you can draw a box to the bottom of the zone. I used to do that when I first started using supply and demand, but now just kind of, I think it kind of clouds up your chart too much. There's just too much stuff going on. But if you were going to draw the box, the way you do it is you draw it to the bottom of either the basing candle or the ignition candle that kind of takes out the basing candle. And so for this one, the lower wick would be on the ignition candle. And so you would just draw your box like that, right? And then we would just extend it out. And so that's a very valid demand zone that we have right now. And we would obviously make this green, right? And so if we saw price retest this area and then start to push out of it, that could be a potential long that we could take for sure. I'm going to take the rectangle off for now, just because I don't want to have my chart super congested, but that is how the basis of how we form demand. And so the same thing as supply is just on the other side, we just get a drop, base drop. And then we can also have so for demand, we can have a drop base rally. And then for supply, we can have a rally base drop. But essentially what we just want to have is for the demand side, we want to have a basing candle and an ignition out of it. And then for the supply side, we want to have a basing candle and a drop out of it, taking out the basing candle. And so what we can do is we can go to the 4 hour. If I didn't see anything else on the daily. And so let us see, right? So maybe right here, we do have a 4 hour demand, right? So this is a good example of a drop base rally. So for example, we have this nice dropping period and then we base out right in this area, right? We can see we kind of have two basing candles form, but we want that red candle and then the green taking it out, right? And so we can draw a 4 hour demand right here. Right, and then so we're just going to throw 4 hour demand right here. Boom. All right. And then, I mean, you can see it when it got created right here. What happened when we touched it a couple days ago, right? We had a perfect bounce out of that, off that zone. So, I mean, we're already seeing how well this can work. We tail down right to that. Like, let's do a little example, right? So when we go to the 3 minute, look at this price action, right? So if we're day trading the 3 minute, we get some tails right down to this area. We see buying pressure coming, and then we absolutely just rip out of here. And so that's the power supply and demand, but we're going to keep going through the chart, and I'm going to show you guys how I find these. All right, so 4-hour demand. It's looking pretty good on the 4-hour. I don't see too much. Keep looking. Another note you guys want to make is we have to have fresh supply and demand zones, right? So we got what we think about what we're doing here is we're trying to find these limit orders, right? These institutional orders sitting in an area. And so if price, like we got created here, we got this zone all the way down to here. If price drove all the way down into here and through it, if there was any orders in this area, they'd already be taken out. So we want the freshest zones we can have possible to make the strategy even more effective. I see one more demand zone right here. It's going to be a little lower. So like, let's look at what we got here, right? We have this rally, base, rally, right? So the green takes out the Basin candle. That's going to be another example of a 4-hour demand zone, right? So we'll throw 4-hour demand right here. Perfect. All right, so now we're starting to get some demand zones on our chart. Price is pretty high right now, so I don't see too much supply, right? Like, so this would be an example of a supply maybe right here. So we have this drop, base, drop. But I'm not going to mark this one off of, for two reasons. One, the red candle really didn't, the body of the red candle really didn't push through the tail. All the way through the bottoming tail of the green, which I want to see. And then also, obviously, price hasn't validated it, right? So if this was a zone, a supply zone right here, prices already drove up through it and would have wiped out all those sell orders if they were sitting there. So we're not going to touch that one. So I think we're pretty good on the 4-hour. Let's look at the 3-hour. Right. And also, we're going to kind of pretend we're ignoring today because we're going to pretend we're trading today and we're setting it up for today. So 3-hour, let's see. So if we were ignoring today, right, we see one here. So like pretend we don't see today. This would be a demand zone, right? Because we have this rally, base, rally. You can see the candles a little bit better. So we're going to drop a demand zone here. That's going to be our 3-hour demand, 3-hour demand. All right, and then obviously that got wiped out today, but like I said, we're pretending we don't know what happened today, and we're going into today, right? So we have that 3-hour demand there, so we're just gonna leave it on there for now. And so that's why it's also important. That brings up a good note. We can see like today that this like we might have gotten a little bounce off this tail. So like let's actually take a quick look at what happened. Let me touch this area. Yeah, I mean, so you could have definitely gotten a little scalp out of this, right? We see the green start to take out the red here. And we could have definitely scalped it for probably 10, 20 a contract, something like that. But we were in such a strong downtrend today that I probably wouldn't have taken it. And so that's besides the point. Let's keep making our zones. And so 3-hour looks pretty good. Still not seeing any supply yet, right? Because we're at such a high price right now that there's not much supply on the chart. But as we go down, we should be able to find some more. So let's go to the 2-hour, right? Let's see what we got. So, okay, so there's definitely some supply up in here. All right. So we definitely have some right here, right? Okay, so this is going to be a good one. So we see we have this dropping candle, this Basin candle, and then this dropping candle. So that the ignition candle takes out the Basin candle. So that's going to be a nice supply zone right there. So we can draw our line in. And then we're going to throw this red line, right? Because we're in supply. So this is going to be 2-hour supply. All right, so that's going to be a supply zone there. We could consider this maybe a supply zone because the drop is so strong, but like I said, I like to see that the candle after the Basin candle take out the whole Basin candle. And so we can see this tail is all the way down here, and we didn't exactly take it out. So maybe if we go to I'm actually going to draw this one just because the second candle is so strong as well. So I'm just going to mark it off anyways. But normally we like to see the candle after take out the entire thing. But I'm gonna mark it just in case. 2-hour supply, right? Okay. So we got 2-hour supply now from both of those. Like this could be this is a great example of a base drop. But like of course price is way above that, so any supply there would have been wiped out. But that's the candle structure we are looking for, right? So 2-hour supply. I think we are pretty good there. And then let's see what we got. We may demand. Oh, yep. Price ever touches there again? Nope. So we got demand zone right here. So we have this nice rally, base, rally. So we can drop a demand zone right here. Throw that green to demand, right? Okay. So basically, this is how I set up my charts every single morning, so that we can trade effectively during the day. Okay, so we're looking good. We got some good zones on here. We're still pretending we're ignoring today, right? All right, so now we go to the 1 hour. All right, let's see. We should have one more supply zone up in here somewhere. Scroll back a little bit. Yep, so this is going to be one right here, right? So this is a good example of a supply zone that's not drop, base, drop, but it's rally, base, drop, right? So we have this Basin candle right here, which runs up into another supply zone. So there's heavy supply in this area, but we're going to mark this one off right here. Make it red for supply, 1 hour supply. And yeah, that's one thing I do want to note about this one though is so we had this supply created right here, right? Um, Look at the drop we got like what, 2 days later? That's in the same day. Yeah, so in the same day, we got a retest of this zone and then fell. How many points? 4228 all the way pretty much without any green until 4157. So I mean that's over 100-point move off that retest. So I mean this very strong sellers came out of this area. And so I don't like the fact that it already got retested once, because that means that some of the orders got taken up. But because there's so many supply zones in this spot and the sellers are so strong in this area, I'm going to leave it on. And so what I'm going to do is instead of taking it out because they already got tested, I'm just going to type 1 hour supply use. And so that's going to let me know that that area got punctured one time, but it's still, I think, an effective area. And so that's just going to give me an idea of that. All right, and so now we can keep going down the time frames, right? So let's see, go to the 90-minute. Don't know what's happening today. Let's see, not seeing too much. All right, nothing really on the 90-minute. Demand forms here at 1:30 this morning. But like we said, it's just sellers are so strong today, and we don't know what happened today. But we would mark that off if we, so we can mark it off since we are pretending we don't know today. Go 45-minute demand. Cool. And one thing also to notice is that the lower the time frame we go, probably the weaker the zone is, right? So not always, but obviously like the 4 hour, 2 hour daily zones are going to be a little stronger than if we're rocking with a 30, 45-minute zone. So that's looking good. Nothing up there in supply. Here's a nice supply zone formed. But this was today, so we're going to just kind of ignore it because we're pretending we're trading today. Demand formed here at 4 a.m. on the 30-minute, right? Let's put the demand in there. So we see the nice rally, base rally. So I need volume right now. 30-minute demand. And yeah, so like I said, and then we did have one here as well. All right. So we had this demand formed in the pre-market or early morning. Throw that one on as well. So this is going to be two 30-minute demand forms just in this run up, right? Okay. So I think we're pretty good, guys. So if we go like to 1 hour, we can kind of see the whole thing. Pretend we're really early in the morning, right? So we got all these demand and supply levels. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of pretend that we're going into the trading day, right? So we charted all this out either like the night before pre-market, and now we're going to go into our trading day, right? And so we're going to go to like we'll go to a 15-minute first. And then, okay, so, right, so first things first, we hop on our computer an hour before open. It's 8:30. We're observing all the overnight action, right? So we were kind of flat at the end of the day, yes, like going into the night yesterday when I did a lot of these zones. And so we were kind of just waiting to see what happened overnight. And so we got this huge, nice run up overnight. And so I thought there was a chance we could potentially be bullish, but we were going into supply. So I wouldn't ever go long into supply. So yeah, so maybe we think we're looking to the downside as we get closer and closer to supply, right? And so I day trade on the 3-minute. And so what I'm gonna do, right, is so when I start to trade, so we'll pretend it's 9:20. We're about to enter the trading day, right? So first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn on my Spice algorithm and VWAP. And I'm gonna switch my candles back to Hike and Ashy. That's how we use the Spice algo. It just works better, in my opinion. And that's what I like to do. All right, so going into its trading day, right? So we got this is go scroll back. Sorry. All right. So like 9 a.m., right? This is like the 9 a.m. price action. So we get a buy signal into supply, right? The trend is still down, and we're going into supply. So I'm never going to take that long, first of all. And that's, I mean, first of all, we can't. The market hasn't opened yet. It's only 9:15. But I'm not thinking about going long here because one, I never really want to go long in supply, especially we have so many supply zones coming up, right? We have this 2 hour supply, and then we have this 1 hour supply that had that huge drop off, and then we have this another 2 hour supply above. So trend is still down. I'm not thinking about going long here. And so we finally open up on this candle right here. And then what happens, right? So we get a big topping tail, which is a bearish sign to me already because the buyers are trying to drive it up all the way here. The sellers are coming in and saying, no, we're gonna bring it back down a little. Now we get this doji candle where we get tails on both sides. Also a sign of a reversal. So at this point, I'm thinking, okay, maybe we're not going to, maybe we are going to sell off here because we're getting these topping tails, we're getting this doji, which is a potential sign of reversal, and then in the next candle at 9:36, so 6 minutes into the open, we get a sell signal, and the trend is turning down, right? So if we go to like a 15-minute time frame at 9:36, let's look what the trend is doing. Right, trend is starting to level out and turn down right as this candle comes in. So basically, that would have been an awesome entry for our play, right? We're right in the supply zone. We literally tail inside this 1 hour supplies, which created that huge sell-off we talked about earlier, that 100-point sell-off. And we get this doji that kind of signals a reversal coming in. So all the stars are starting to align, and then we get that sell signal confirmation that we can go on. And then let's look what happened if we took this play. So we would have entered puts on this candle here. So let's say we got in at the bottom of the candle, 422.75 cents. And this thing just absolutely ripped down. So how would we manage the trade? So first thing I would have done is started trimming at VWAP, right? Because VWAP we know can be a nice support level if we're coming down onto it. And so I would have definitely scaled out 25 to 50% of my profits right here at VWAP. But that is already that from that 4222 level all the way down to 4214. That's going to be an 8-point move already, and we're already going to be really big up on those puts. And then we actually, that's why we would have held runners. We would have trimmed out 25 to 50% there. We would have held those runners, and then look where we ended up going, right? We crushed these 30-minute demands. Like I said, the small ones can be not as strong. And so where did we end up running to? We ended up tailing here at this 45 and this 3-hour demand. That's probably where I would have closed my position, because that 4-hour demand being strong, and look what happened. We actually ended up coming up out of it a little bit. And so that's probably where I would have closed my position at, which would have been a move from, let's see, lost my mouse there for a second. So if we started at the bottom and we took profit all the way at our 3-hour demand, right? That's going to be a move from 4223 all the way down to 4202. Almost a 21-point move on the chart. And I'll let you know some of our members did take this play and ended up with a 400% gainer. So insane move today on the SPY. Absolutely printed crazy. Huge congrats to our members who captured this move today. That's awesome. And yeah, this is kind of the basics of how we trade at Spice Algo. We use our supply and demand and our algorithm together to try and predict the most effective moves, and trade with the institutions at the same time. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Always like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, feel free to join our Discord off our website. It's free to join the Discord. Obviously, you're not going to get all the features, but you're more than welcome to shoot me or our other founder, Brian, a message on there. Ask us any question anytime, and we will be more than happy to help you out. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and let's stay green tomorrow. Cheers.